So when I pop up on your timeline and you watch my videos to the end, you either really love the king or you're not too sure about what you're dealing with. Maybe there's a hole, maybe you're not too sure about what you should or should not believe. Now, everyone is welcome, and I don't want you to think that if you're not Rastafari, you can't get any depth from what we speak about on the channel. So I'm gonna start by saying what you believe in does not and cannot change the destiny of the earth cycle. Rastafari as father coming to do his work has nothing to do with whether you believe in him or not. It's more about the time has come, so let it be done. I'm going to highlight that the work of the vehicle of the Christ is dependent on your belief, not the Father coming or not. You see, in order for you to accept that there is in you a higher faculty that can lead you to the Creator, you must first believe in its existence. That is where the belief in Christ comes in. But Rastafari coming to do what he has to do has nothing to do with whether you believe in him or not. You don't need to believe in Rastafari, because Haile Selassie is, you see me. But you need to believe that in you exists a Christ. And when you believe, even if it's as small as a mustard seed, you would notice that your inner and outer nature changes to resemble a different type of man, a Christ man. And if you are the person, no judgment, who find it very hard to believe in things that you cannot see and experience with your mind, then even questions can lead you there. Knock, knock, knock. Who's there? Is anyone out there? I am praying. Can anyone hear me? This is bothering me. Can you assist with this? Can you send a guide? Can you send a sign? Ask, and it shall be given. Knock, and the door shall be open unto you. Seek, and you shall find. The Almighty will not give you stone for bread, serpent for a fish. You check it. And it's okay to ask questions. It's okay to ask the Almighty questions. So you see, I'm sitting in the marina. This is my view. And someone passes by and I have to stop because I'm just getting familiar with this, taking content in public. So bear with me. So you do not start a spiritual practice because of fear. For the Christians, that may look like I don't want to go to hell, so I surely must be a Christian. For example, the Muslims, you know the wrath of Allah, and you don't want to mess with the wrath of Allah, and so you're gonna do what you need to do. For Rastafari, he shall wound the one with the hairy scalp. He shall chasten you if you do not do what you're supposed to do. But you never enter into a spiritual system because of fear. You enter a spiritual system because you love the Creator and you want to get to know the Creator, and you know that in you is a higher being that you yourself want to know, and you're stepping into purpose. Those are the reasons you take up a spiritual path, especially if you're intending to take up a spiritual path that leads you all the way through life. I'm pausing for the effects, but for the ones who have higher perceptions, we know that life is way beyond the time that we die. So whatever spiritual practice you take up, ensure that your spiritual practice has the longevity to take you even past that point. Another fear is I do not want to disappoint you know who. So I must be a Christian or I must go to church, and you know that there is conflict in you. You know that you have to be a Rasta man. You know that you're supposed to be the best Muslim that you can, but your mother probably was a Christian. Your father probably is your aunt is probably and you do not want to disappoint them. So you're fearful of ending your relations, and so you would stay trapped in a spiritual system that you do not think to be your own. You do not take up a spiritual system because of guilt. That may look like he died on the cross for me, my sins, and so I have to be a Christian. he gave his life for the world, and so I must then give my life for him. What happens when guilt runs out? I was born in sin and shaped in iniquity, so I must. And you do not take up a spiritual system because it simply is a part of your family. You don't be a Christian because your entire family is a Christian. You're talking about your soul. You're talking about something that solely belongs to you and no one else. So yes, based on where you are born, you take up a system. So for example, if you are born in the West, chances are you're probably going to be thinking that Christianity should be the dominant one. Depending on where you are in the East, you may think that the principles of Krishna or Buddha is it. You need to understand that spiritual systems are created to keep man in order, but it is a means to the end and it is not the end. So would a Christian and a Muslim and a Buddhist and a Rasta unite in this earth for the greater good of mankind? You take up a spiritual path because there is a yearning for something great. There's a yearning in you. You know that this working and trying to make a woman or a man happy and trying to have a family or trying to make money, there must be more than this. As you become self, you start to be conscious of other things. You start being aware of things outside of your six senses. You start being curious. You ask the right questions, and then you take up a spiritual practice. The one you choose has to be a one that can take you from where you are now, fulfill you completely. You're not supposed to be confused in your spiritual practice. So maybe you need to be mature enough to leave the one that you're in and step into one that has more answers for you, the one that's calling you. So how long, Rastafari, calling you? Like, what are you scared of? I have lost quite a lot for the things that I believe in. I have lost quite a lot to fulfill my purpose. And as Job had his experience, I completely understand. I completely understand that life tests you. I completely understand that when you take up a spiritual practice, that's an oath. Remember in the Bible, it always had the battle of the gods, It was always the Hebrew God having to prove himself. The people who had their other gods surely believed in their gods and saw their glory. But just remember, every time it had a showdown, it was the Hebrew God that would always win. So I am not here disrespecting you if your God has another name, because I understand that all of these spiritual systems lead to one path, the path of the Almighty, the path of the God-man, in you, through you, for you, to you. You see me?